Aloha.
I have a dream, that's all I need. I'll make it happen with some work and belief. Know what I want, so I'll take it on. I'll make mistakes, but mistakes make you strong. Let's break it down for a minute. I want the crown, I'm gon' get it. You hear me loud, man.
Aloha, everybody. Welcome. My name is Marlon Cordero. Welcome to episode 6 of Dzyne and Daimond. Apologies for the delay. I know we did it multiple times in person, and once a recording, we had some technical internet difficulties, so we're re-recording this. Welcome to the episode 6. Let's fly through this. Thank you for taking the time out. Thank you for bringing your attention to this uh, fully blown out entrepreneurial journey with us with Dzyne and Daimond. Now, some of you have heard of our hashtag focus challenge. Of course, you got 30 days, put up a challenge, hold yourself accountable, text someone you love, text someone that you respect in the area that you're trying to thrive in. We're going to continue to do this hashtag focus. And at the end of your hashtag focus, we want to know what you've completed, what you've accomplished, and we want to put you in a recording, in a testimony, and a story of all the journey of the entrepreneurial dedication and commitment you've done to your hashtag focus. So we're still continuing to do that. I know a few of our ambassadors, representatives, and business partners are near closing their finish line, and some are restarting and renewing their hashtag focus. So keep on that. Now let's get into the information. Now I know I've covered this similar times, maybe flashed on it. But what is your superpower? What can you get passionate about? What are you really good at? And it's very important to know that, especially with the trends that we offer and the entrepreneurial journey that you are on, it's important because your purpose, your passion that you're good at, that you can, as we would say, deliver value or fulfill a need in, is highly, highly important. Why? Because you're unique. You are unique to what you offer to the marketplace, to your community, to your family, to what you are trying to accomplish. So, we're going to dive into it in further episodes, but we want to glance on that just slightly today. Now, let's go into the point of focus. Some of you guys have heard of an example of people going skiing or people going white water rafting and kayaking in those really crazy rapids. Well, let me tell you this. If the skier focuses on the tree, or if the rafter focuses on the rock, if the instructor goes, hey, don't pay attention to that rock. Don't look at that rock. Oh my gosh, do not hit that tree. What is going to happen? Bam, they're going to hit it. So what does that correlation has to do with your business? If you focus on what you're not getting, focus on your distractions, if you focus on the areas that you're not so well in, leading into your superpower, instead of focusing on what you're good at, focusing on the snow right in front of you, focusing on the water and your team on which direction you need to go, not necessarily focusing on what not to hit, but focusing on what to hit. A great example, right? If you're in a dark library and you've got a flashlight, and I told you to look out for a certain title book, but there's thousands of books in that library. You may have a chance to find it. With the light off and you're trying to find it, you may find it. But this is what was taught to me. In that process, you are missing out on so many other books. So if you go and turn the light on, you realize that what you're trying to resolve, what you're trying to solve, what you're trying to get good at, you could be passing up. As Tony Robbins would relate to it, your RAS, your reticular activating system, right? For example, some of you guys have a Toyota truck, some of you guys have a Lexus, some of you guys have a Honda Civic. If you guys have a particular color or that model, when you're driving out on the road, you'll recognize it. Why? Because it relates to you. Maybe you got a nice suit, ladies got a nice bag. If you see it around, you're out traveling, and you'll recognize it because it's familiar to you, and it's what you correlate to, what you know are fond of, what you bought, what you purchased, what you put your earned value into. So the same thing goes for your business. If you're trying to look for the good, if you're trying to look for the personal customers, if you're trying to look for those that want to earn income, family wants freedom, needs more time. Example, if you're looking for people who want to get discounts on travel, people want to enhance their finances studies with Forex or cryptocurrency, or you name it, people that are looking at technology in the metaverse. Maybe you're looking at areas in wellness or online marketing. See, once you have it, once you dive in and understand, one, your superpower, which we'll cover in a later course, and your passions, and then you correlate it to, now you know what your point of focus is and who you're looking for, how you're going to do it. So point of focus is very important. Another point is reference. So a lot of people go through life and they only know what they know. Let me slow that down. You only know what you know, right? Based on your experiences, your timeline, what you've done, what you haven't done, your circle. And this is so important because if you want to open doors to new aspects and new areas in life that you've never been to, well, you need to use other points of references that have explored those areas. I know that seems so simple and that seems so, second nature, like, oh yeah, that makes sense. But we get so caught up in ourselves on what we know and not stepping away and getting out of our ego and say, okay, what don't I know and who knows it to go find it? So when you're going through your journey, it's always so easy to resort to what you haven't done or what you have done. And in order to go new levels, you have to step out of that. Great example, if you're writing a book and you've never done it before, well, you don't know how to be an author. If you want to, you have a desire to will be an actress or an actor. If you've never done it before, you've never done it before. And the same thing goes for every great actor, actress, author, illustrator, artist, entrepreneur, coach, you name it, forex trader, travel agent, online marketer, wellness and personal coach, you name it. Before they stepped into that world, they never did it before. So your point of reference is great, especially helping others or excelling to new levels and new other areas. You got to look at other point of references and use that. Be resourceful. Now, moving on, the next area we want to do is not so much, and I know I've touched on this, but not so much be a victim of your circumstance, but also know that we are conditioned, we are very much so conditioned on what we know, what we have experienced. And I know I've said this and voiced this many times, we are a victim of our circumstances. As adults, now we're a victim of our choices, but if we end up being a victim of our circumstances, oh, I'm so broke. Oh, I don't have great friends. Oh my goodness, my childhood or my coming up or whatever you want to be able to blame, reason, or excuse on, we're conditioning our brain. And it started usually at a younger age, whether that be hunger, desire, ambition, um, trauma, and maybe lack of, everyone has doubt, right? But lack of, I guess you'd say, ambition or hunger. So many times we get the same result over and over and over again, and we condition ourselves to believe we can't do it based on, again, our point of reference and our point of focus. So we want to be sure and conscientious to not condition yourself. Bad habits, like we've covered in many other episodes, but good habits and good people and good aspects of, like the hashtag focus, saying something you're going to do, be integral and getting it done. Saying you're going to help out somebody, customer-wise, prospect-wise, team-wise, community-wise, and condition yourself habitually, create the habit to condition you to be better. Now, this is going to be really powerful. I'm going to fly through this. This is awesome right here. Some of us are on autopilot. A funny joke, funny story. The other day, I went to go make coffee. I make put the filter in, I put the coffee in, I get my water in, and early in the morning, we can condition ourselves. Oh, it's so early, I haven't had my coffee. As somebody of you know me personally, I don't really need coffee for energy. But it's a great rhythmical, as you know, I'm making up words here. It's a great rhythm for me in the morning to get my coffee, my personal development, get my morning started. Again, I don't use the coffee for energy. It's just a part of it. But why do I have this screen up here? A lot of us just don't take that first step. We just don't do what is necessary, and it's so simple, and it's like one step. And that's, plugging in, turning on. And a lot of us have done the mistake. So going back to my coffee, I'm ready there and I'm sitting at the table and I'm like, man, I don't hear the sound of the coffee dripping. I'm like, what's taking so long? So 30 minutes later, I go over there and I press the button. Funny, Joe, but it wasn't plugged in. And we've all been guilty of it. Oh, where's my phone or my wallet or my glasses? And it's on your head or it's in your hand. And we go through life and we go through our business and we go through our relationships, sometimes on autopilot. And we don't look and realize what actually powers that, what's the source of that. So great way to look at your point of focus, recondition yourself, is to really just turn it on, is to get your brain cleared and focus on, okay, what's my first step? How do I power this on? A lot of the troubleshooting that happens and many technical technology companies is as simple as, did you turn the power button on, or did you reset it? Like that seems so, mind-blowingly simple. But in a lot of cases in our business, that's what we're guilty of. We just aren't turning ourselves on. We're just not pressing the power button. Now, this is a very powerful, they used to call this bear, right? And this is something that I learned from the Mr. Tony Robbins. But this is so powerful. We want to take some time in there. And this is how you create the momentum you need to push forward your business. So let's start off here. Your first block, follow along. I want you to write down potential. Just try to copy along the screen, potential. Now, if you would say, do human beings have a lot of potential? Absolutely. If you look at the graveyard, it's one of the most richest places in the world that potential goes to die. And it just, right, we always try to do the most we can, the best we can. And even if we accomplish so much, we end up falling short no matter what, right? So potential, right? Like, Bugsy Bogues, he was a very short basketball player, or Spud Webb, right? Height-wise, in a sport that's dominated by taller gentlemen and taller women. But the potential of that basketball player is enormous, right? You've seen the successes, the heights of new jumping, leaping abilities that some of those players had, or dribbling abilities. But when you take it in account for potential for business and for individuals, man or woman, it doesn't matter. It's enormous. It's unlimited, right? Then you go to action. Now, we always say this is true. This is so true. You want to take massive action. That is the key to success. But is it possible to take massive action and not get the outcome or the result you desire? Absolutely. When you lack the skills, the coaching, the resources, the direction, the potential, right? Just taking action could get you, quote unquote, lucky because of the work you put in, but to sustain it, to elevate it, to multiply it, to really not get, as you would say, drained down and realize you're breaking different barriers because it's not duplicatable. And energy wise, time wise, to perform at such a high level for so long, you get burnt out. That's why you see some of the people, if I wanted muscles, I can't go into the gym and work out for 8 hours and rest the next 9 days. Like, that's crazy. You need to be consistent, right? You want to go in, do the work, 30 minutes, hour and a half, for over 4 or 5 days, 6 days, if your desires, goals is to be a little bit higher. So action. Next one, results, right? Results tend to make you commit to more action and want to be more successful, and you get you, as we would say, more belief. Now, this cycle, this momentum is this, I guess you would say, process is so important. Now let's hit on belief or certainty, because a lot of people say, well, when I believe, or if I had the results, or if I had the money, or if I had the relationship, or if I had the community, or if I had the team, then I would take more action, right? And everybody wants those results. Well, how do you create the certainty and belief before all of that? Because we all have the potential, and we all can get the results we desire. Some may be harder, some we may need more resources, need more time, depending on our goals. But how do we get the belief and certainty before we start all this? Some of you have done this activity in the past where I say reach back. Some of you guys know what this is. I'm not going to stand up and do it now, but if you stay stationary, stand up, and you reach back as far as you can, and then I tell you to close your eyes, and you try and reach back without doing it. Reach back further. Okay, see yourself doing it. Reach back further. Reach back further. Now a little bit more, right? If you've ever done push-ups, if you did 6 the first time, I say, okay, we're going to do 7. If you've ever bench pressed, or if you've ever walked or jogged a distance, and I say next day or 2 weeks from now, we're going to go a little further. We're going to reach a little further. A lot of you, a lot of the times, do it. You guys can. You push your limiting belief. You create a new level of success or distance, or as you would say, benchmark. Bruce Banner, 4-minute mile. When he did that, he blew the world's mind. I'd say, man, he ran a 4-minute mile. They thought it was impossible. What's crazy is 30 odd some people after that did it. So how do you create that belief and certainty if you have, as we were talking earlier, no point of reference or no experience before? Well, you have to unconsciously and not jump in the mirror and affirmations and say, I can do it, I can do it. No, but you have to. Everything was invented twice, right? Once in the mind, then in the actual physical world. And a lot of us, we eat, breathe, and sleep as we going back to the reticular activating system, know what we want. And a lot of times it's you've accomplished something great. You've thought about it all the time. You planned it, you mastered it. Every area that you've seen that you wanted to get better in for that specific goal, you were looking out, reaching out, being, very proactive on getting the resources. So you have to subconsciously see you completing, you getting better, you working on improvement and progress in the area, in your business, trend, with your team, with the relationships to increase that potential and increase the action. Therefore, that would increase the results. So creating that belief and certainty is so important. So let's dive into a couple of these keys here, overflowing the process that we just covered there with potential, and the action and the results and the belief. Results come from creating an obsession to take action. You know, so many people, you would say you see smart, unwise people, or smart, I don't want to say dumb or stupid, but smart, uneducated people. Well, technically they're educated, but what do I mean by that? How many people they know what to do, but don't do what they know? How many? How many people they know what to do, but they don't do what they know? They read the books, they listen to the audios, they go to the seminars, they go to the trainings, they jump on the recording, they take the notes. They're so absorbed and immersed in the information, but they don't take the action, or they know it all, but haven't done it all, or have done anything at that point. So it's really, 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 really important for you to get obsessed with taking that action after you absorb the information. The difference between the information compared to the influence is, the thoughts, the feelings, the actions. So the knowledge versus the experience. And this is not to down college or school in no way or form, because there's are different areas where teachers and educators are strive. But I see so many business classes, and you fill in the blank, because I don't want to offend nobody. But man, they give out such the greatest information, but I've never walked that path. That's what I mean. From information compared to influence. Great example. You take some of the great singers, right? Like Elvis, or you name it, right? Michael Jackson, Chris Brown, Usher, they're trying to hit all the generations here. They have done it. But if you're in a class that has never, maybe the educator's never been on stage or performed, but they've studied it from a distance so well, they may be giving you the right information, but based on their experience, you lack that, or he or she lacks that influence, where someone has sold out shows, broke Golden Globe records and Grammys, and just gotten the awards and the money and the contracts and the producing. Well, that's how you gain influence. So that way, when you speak, when you help, when you act, the thoughts and feelings and emotions and actions go into the customers, the prospects, and they actually believe you because of the journey, the path that you've gone on. That's the difference before informing and influencing. Now, execution trumps knowledge, piggybacking on that last statement all the time. Effective, efficient execution. You may intellectually understand it, hearing it once or a few times. However, you got to practice so you can get rewarded in public, but you practice in private. That's how you master and not dabble. It's very important that you zero in on what you want. That's where we're going to bring in another course, the superpower, your passion, how you can zero in on that. But creating that certainty, taking action when you're uncertain is just like trying, right? It's a premeditated lie. If you're hungry and I say, try to eat, you're going to starve because you're going to eat or you're not going to eat. Great example. One of the greatest examples I heard, and it's so simple. Hey, I'm going to try and use the bathroom, or I'm kind of thirsty. I'm going to try and get a drink. If you got to go, you go. If you're thirsty, you're going to drink that drink. So with enough repetition, you can create that certainty in practice. Steph Curry, LeBron James, Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant has hit those free throws, right? Sammy Sosa is hitting those balls because they've practiced in private so they can get rewarded in public. So when those big moments occur, when you get in front of the customer, the prospect, you have gone over the information and you've done it repetitively with multiple people, different personalities. So when you're in that moment and you're confronted with a challenge or a problem, you know the solution, you know how to do it. You know how to hit that shot. You know how to hit that ball. So it's very important to not try. Try is a premeditated lie. Don't try things. You do or you don't, right? And based on what your passion, what you want to get done, you do. Unconscious beliefs, see, feel, experience with repetition, get the results in advance. Just like I had mentioned, if you reach back, close your eyes, you visualize you reaching further, or you visualize you doing more push-ups, or you visualize and go a little bit further, or you visualize doing those hours and then you do the hours, you know you can do it because you're creating it in your mind and not doubting yourself, not having imposter syndrome, which meaning, I can't do it. I fear that because I haven't done it. No, and that is why you want to get around people that have done it, that have the influence to help you create that. Common denominator in success is hunger. But let me break this down because this may have gotten confused or lost in translation for many other different explanations, which just simply means you're never settling less than what you can do, be, share, create, or give in life. Right? Like the hunger that you create within you is the best you can do, and passion that you want to thrive for and can continue growing. A lot of the times, if they say, oh, they lack the hunger, what's somewhere deep inside of you, based on your superpower, based on your passion, and it's waiting to come out. And I'm not trying to be a motivational guru right here. I really mean this. Your hunger is in there. Towards what? When you decide that. But there is a hunger, and everybody's potential / hunger level is different. And that's okay. That's what's making you unique. Great example, Shaquille O'Neal, big man, 7 foot. Muggsy Bogues, shorter gentleman. Do you think that Muggsy Bogues, based on his 5'4", 5'6", 5'6" frame, use all his potential he possibly could in the NBA? I mean, I don't think there's been another gentleman that's shorter than that gentleman in the NBA ever. But man, was he reminded constantly he stepped on the floor on how well he did. Now, Shaquille O'Neal, multiple championships, they label him the most dominant. Nobody could stop him. But you would hear Kobe all the time say, man, he didn't have the work ethic like I did. If he did, he would have been the greatest of all time. That's what I meant by the hunger level and potential. And that's what made Shaq unique. And that's what made Muggsy unique. And even in business, right? Your level of hunger has to satisfy you. If you know what you're never settling less for, what you can do, be, share, create, or give in life, then you know there's another step. You know there's another level. And for the ambitious, purpose-driven people that find their passion as superpower, they continue to just improve and progress. And that's why the hunger is unique to the person. But you got to find it within you. Not to get, again, motivational guru style, but what is your why? Connect that to that and understand that, okay, I can continuously be consistent in this area and constantly improve. And that by doing that, you got to get clear. You got to get obsessed with precision and specific goals, right? I've heard so many times, oh, I want more money. Give them $1. Beat it. Well, no, wait a second. No, not just $1. I want, so you get my point. Right? Oh, I want a new car. I give them a raggedy car with the window broken and the muffler loud, and you got to use a screwdriver to start it. No. I don't want that. I want, the 250,000, new XO black car, right? With the 6, fancy, specific. They know I want a home. We want a raggedy broken home, or you want a nice home. So you got to get clear and obsessed with your goals, how well you're going to become, who you want to help, how your team will look, the efficiency, the people you want to work with. Got to get clear on that. If there's any area that you're struggling in or you're not sure, try going back to just clearing the slate and knowing what you want to go after. That's important to do. Mastery, with that momentum model, from gathering the uncertainty in the beginning, making that certain, creating a little bit more belief because you're surrounding yourself by the right resources and people will cause you to get that momentum for you to increase your potential, to take more action, and to get more results. So momentum, mission, model, massive action, and go until. And the last part of that is have grace, right? Have gratitude. Be grateful for the challenges. Be grateful for the setbacks. They always say your setback is a set up, right? Your testimonial is just a test in that area. So I couldn't agree and believe more. And everybody loves a great story, right? If you hear some of the most successful people in the world woke up one morning and that's all they had to do, nobody would read that book. That's why you guys are into drama. That's why you guys love intense cliffhangers and watch many episodes, movies, or love certain books or people's stories like Oprah, Les Brown, and just many multiple, just phenomenal people that have come from nothing, rags, right, to riches, is because they had grace and they were hungry, they were passionate, and they had that until attitude. That I know mentality. I will just say this last portion. You got to stay away from that. Stay away from the I know, I know, I know. Now, I know, no pun intended. All of us do it because we think we know. Now, don't just have the intellectual mastery, and this goes into that I know mentality. Understanding is great, but having an emotional mastery and to be able to execute and implement into action to push you to do the things you desire and to have the energy towards, which you develop that physical mastery is more important because you see so many, as you heard me say prior, maybe you read a book and you do nothing, you're just building your shelf esteem because the book goes right back on the shelf. But if you read it and then you take action, now you're developing an emotional mastery. And then you practice it. They say 10,000 hours makes you a master. I believe until you got it down with your eyes closed and you can do it in your sleep. You heard that. Then you develop the physical mastery and the mental mastery, where you could teach anyone, second grader, 4-year-old, to be able to do something. The most maybe incompetent person you can take them because you're so well mastered in that area and help them go from point A to point B. And that takes time. But that doesn't just take the I know mentality and the intellectual mastery. Please remember, repetition is the mother of all skill, as Jim Rohn would always say. So you got to repeat what you do. Now, in wrapping and in closing, emotions, we're going to cover it because I think this is so important, especially in now and this day and age. And I don't mean to say just this day and age, but let me state something very clear. We have so many different generations, genders, religions, backgrounds, upbringing, and raisings in the marketplace, from old to wise, or and young and inexperienced but hungry. Just a blend of so many different people from so many different walks of life. And if you understand this portion right here as we dive in, it's going to help you tremendously, 3 times the growth of your business and your relationships. Now, emotions have enormous power. You can justify emotionally anything you want intellectually. Isn't that true? Right? If I bought this mouse and I was like, yep, I needed that mouse. And I got like 6 at home. Well, this one has, X and O, whatever, capabilities, and I need it because I do my work. Right? And let's just say it costs $100. The last 6 mouses I bought was only $20. You're like, well, that's $100, Marlon. Why would you need that? My emotions, my desire wants that mouse for whatever reason that may be. To others, they'd be like, dude, you got 6 others. It doesn't make sense, but I am justifying it emotionally. So let's dive into it because this is so important, especially when you're building a team and especially when you're getting customers and prospects. So this is what Tony had explained. So this is Tony's information straight from the source, straight from the fountain of knowledge. He said the way he impacts people, because they always want change instantly. They want their life to be changed the moment they meet him. He goes, well, here's some profound knowledge that he digs into that I'm going to teach you guys today. You want to change your physiology. As you may heard, sometimes he jumps in an ice bath, or if he's in one of the states that he lives in, he jumps in the cold water. In this particular example, we want to help you change your physiology. So if you're, mad, take a walk, take a deep breath, you do yoga, you meditate, but changing your physiology is important. Changing your focus, going back to the point of focus that we talked about earlier. You need to change your focus. If things aren't going your way, you need to switch. You need to change it. That's so important. In the earlier episodes, as we talked about, just 1 degree off of that plane causes you to be somewhere else that you did not plan on being on. And that has to do with your focus. Now, meaning, the meaning we give things, is this the end or the beginning? As we always use metaphors, and we'll cover this shortly. But what are the meanings you give to things? I mean, this is so important. Like, oh, this is the end of a relationship. Oh, this door closes. And then, of course, you say one door opens. So is it the beginning or is it the end? It could be crucial how you word those things, and the meanings we personally give things, all has to depend on how we feel. Now, let me dive into it. How we feel, how we think, and what we say, all is important because the transformational vocabulary, Tony calls it, that we use with our words can be enormous to our results, outcomes, success, and really in general when it comes to emotion, our entire life. So let me break this down. The words, the transformational vocabulary, the words we use is so important because they equal the meanings, which equals the emotions. And once that pours down the funnel to you, right, the words, you got to be cognitive of the words you're using because you give them certain meanings and they give you certain emotions where there it pours out and translates to your decisions, which therefore translates to your actions, and there comes your results, right? We are a victim or we are a outcome, depending on how you look at it, use the two different words, based on the decisions we make. Bottom line, you guys have heard me say this numerous amounts of times. E plus R equals O. The event plus the response equals the outcome. So the words you're using, the meanings we give things, the emotions we feel will cause us to have us make decisions on the certain things that we, experience in life. And I cannot explain that more. Like anytime you've been in a bad situation that obviously wasn't catastrophic event that you had no control over, but the things that you had control over, go back to the words you were using, the emotions you were feeling, right? That's why they always say, don't make a good business or the business decision when you're angry. And also don't make it when you're extremely happy, right? Oh yeah, let's just buy this, let's get that, let's hire them. Because that can have or result in the outcome that maybe you weren't foreseeing based on, I cannot tell you how many times in network marketing, so many people, two sides of the spectrum, I'll give you a story, gets involved in the first 5 minutes of hearing the information because they hear residual income. They go, oh my gosh, I am in. Everybody's going to want to do this. They're going to get rich and they get high on life. They sign up, they go home, and they're crushed by their parents, their friends, their spouse, their kids. They go, you joined that cult. That is a scam. Why did you do that? Oh my gosh, go get your refund. I've been in that. My auntie, uncle, sister's dad was, stolen from, or they were, manipulated. And now you are high on life, down about it. You're like, oh gosh, what did I do? Because the words they were giving to you, the meaning you gave them, and the emotions it caused in you, caused you to probably make a decision that you weren't plan on making. What changed? Those words and those meanings that were fine. Why? Because you love and respect them, but you don't love and respect the words and the meanings and the emotions that you're feeling at that moment. See how quick. Now on the other side, I've seen people make horrible decisions because their words, meanings, their point of reference of life is like, oh yeah, I can't do this. They're doubting. I don't have the money. I don't have the resources. I don't have the time. And knowing their family is worth it, knowing their freedom is worth it, knowing they really ever, wanted to be a travel agent, an online marketer for it. They just wanted more time. And they, on the other side, instead of being super happy, they're super negative. They're down about it. And they could be walking away from one of the greatest decisions. 5-10 years down the road, they end up making a decision because something, transforms in their life and they make a decision for the better. But they're like, man, I could have made this decision 5, 10, 20 years ago. If I could go back in time, I wouldn't have waited because of the words, the meanings, and the emotions. See, the words that we attach to our experience become our experience, hands down. Hands down. Great example Tony used. He was in a business meeting. He had 2 partners there. And the group that was giving them this offer across the table was intentionally there to really mess them over. And Tony, the person he is, he's like, you know what? I'm going to open my heart. I'm going to leave everything on the table because he just wanted to get it over with. They took for a break, and the 3 of the gentlemen, they discussed, they're like, man, this is horrible. They're really messing us over. And Tony was super upset. The person to the right, his other partner, was livid. He was yelling, I hate them. I could kill them. I could stab them. And then the third partner, the one on the left of him, was really, really calm. And they both looked at him, you're not upset. Like, why aren't you flipping out? And he looked them both in the eyes and he said, I'm peeved. And they both shook their head and they started to say, what, you're peeved? And Tony, he calmed down because his other partner was super, super upset. So he mellowed it out. He goes, He goes, you're not, thrown off by the way they're doing the business and explaining this offer. He goes, I'm peeved, I'm tingled. And those are the words he chose. And they laughed about it. They're like, what a word choice. And he looked back 5, 6 years ago, and that gentleman who responded with those words, he said, have you ever been angry? Is there anything you're upset about? I mean, I remember the IRS taking millions of dollars from me. It took years to come back up. And he said, yeah, it tingled me. It definitely got me, going. And that was his word choice, because those are the means that he gave to me. So if we give them the power, if we give them those words, if they can, control the decisions maybe you don't want to make, the actions you don't desire to do long term, but you do it in a moment because the emotions are now transformed and get you the results that you really don't want. So, what are the words that are getting in the way of your progress? He used his mom. Tony had used his mom as an example. They went away on a business trip. The mom kept calling, leaving a message, say, you're humiliating me. Oh my gosh, I'm so humiliated. And Tony's like, I was out of the office. He finally responded, 10 days later. So my staff was away. Hey, mom, and he said he was very intentional on having this conversation, but he was very nervous because, obviously, probably not the best thing to deliver information like this to your mom. Say, hey, mom, you're always using the word humiliated. You're always humiliated. She didn't like that, but the truth is she was, and she used that an awful lot. So what are 2 words? Here's homework for you. What are 2 words when you're in a angry, sad, depressed, high anxiety moment that you can replace? Replace 2 of the words that you give meaning to that doesn't give you the desired decisions, actions, and results you would like. Let's change those. And then last, in wrapping up, what are the global metaphors you're using? I got this wall between me and so. Or, man, life is such a battle. Breaking that down is, if you always have a wall, there is no wall. If life is a battle, it's tough, it's challenging. If it's always a test, no one enjoys tests. Instead of changing, just like changing the words, life is a dance, right? Forrest Gump taking this quote, life is like a box of chocolates. If you love chocolates, it's not bad. If you love dancing, that's not bad. At the end of the rope, going back to the negative side, there is no rope. Drop the rope. What are the metaphors you're telling yourself? What are the alternatives? You got to be sure, because if you're having a bad relationship or conversation or business experience, we all give these horrible metaphors sometimes. And, oh, there's a wall between me and so, or they just don't understand me. Don't you think maybe the other party feels just as same? So what are some alternative global metaphors, and that's what they call it, just metaphors in general, that are you telling yourself that you can change? Because you have the choice. And I'm telling you, going down and breaking it to the original source of substance, some of the things that you probably regret, not saying anybody regrets anything, but there are moments, it's probably based on bad emotions and bad meanings and bad words that we gave in metaphors and feelings. Now, I'm not saying we're not going to feel junk and down and out some days, but I notice a lot of the high performing, high productive, successful people, they stay there for 30 seconds. They stay there for a minute. They stay there for half the day. They don't stay there for months or years in this rut. They know how to snap out of it because they've been through it. They've been through their point of reference of, I got over that. I changed my vocabulary. I changed the outlook. I changed the perspective. So what is some things that you can change that will help you bring up a higher level of emotions, therefore you make better decisions, take better actions, and get you better results? I'm telling you, the origin is emotions. If you've got a bunch of stuff that you regret, Brian, go back to how you felt. You were probably extremely happy. Yeah, let's get this. I got the money. Oh my gosh. Oh, I love this person. Let's get them that. And you look back on that, and I'm not trying to downplay that. And there's nothing wrong with it at all. But look at the emotions, the words, the metaphors you were saying. Maybe that angry moment, that resentful words or feelings you were feeling that day, and it just poured out into a bunch of people that you truly cared about because you weren't right. Try these techniques. Go back to these strategies of changing your words, changing your metaphors, breaking down some of this information, and you'll be able to, at the end of the day, change your story. So here's a quick ad lib from Mr. Darren Hardy, incredible gentleman, ex-Success magazine writer that I thought was so powerful in this moment.
You see, Jim taught me that your destiny is determined not by the winds of change or the currents of turmoil, but only by the set of your sail. He said the same wind blows on all of us. The same currents pull on all of us. You can arrive at whatever destination you desire. All the difference is the set of your sail.
Boom. And that could not be more true, right? The wind blows on all of us, right? Things happen to everybody. And that gives you the capabilities to know I can change my story at any moment, at any time. This has been Marlon Cordero, episode 6 with Dzyne and Daimond. Thank you guys for all tuning in. Truly care about you all. See you on the next episode. Thank you very much. Let's change your story.
I swear to God, man, I'ma make it soon. Silence all the haters as they see us making moves. I do what I want, so I got nothing to prove. Staying motivated, teaching others what to do. I'm staying focused, my mind is open. They start to notice that I'm in motion.